And speaking of the playoffs, the common denominator across pretty much all the teams, well, not the Pacers, obviously, since they just were eliminated, was that all of them have functional size who could spread the floor. That Siakam, Turner on the Pacers, obviously, Porzingis has been out, but still, you have 2 6'4" guards. Jalen Brown 6'6", 6'7", Tatum 6'8". You have Al Horford, and then obviously on the Dallas side, the two big pickups were Gafford and Washington, two guys that I'm sure us Heat fans wanted to potentially sign or trade for last season. And then, of course, the T Wolves have Gobert and Naz Reid and Cat. So, do you see a world where we could potentially trade, let's say, a Tyler, if he's not willing to be our sixth man, or a Terry Rozier even, to get two players that are on, deals around 12, 15 million and upgrade our size? And I know Bobby Portis is someone we've been linked to in the past, and obviously he's not available. He has, I think, a year left on his contract and then a player option, but he's someone who makes $12 million. Is there a way we can get him and whoever else on the Bucks for a Tyler? Like, would that help us, do you think, compete against the Boston Celtics next season?
I think it's something you have to explore, right? And now we're sort of getting into the moving around of the deck chairs instead of making that big upgrade. But I think, that kind of gets dismissed as a nothing. No, like moving around deck chairs, sometimes it's nice. It kind of changes the feng shui of the space and everybody's a little bit happier and all of a sudden like sometimes that stuff does help, right? And I think that will be something that the Heat have to explore if they're not able to use the Tyler Hero or Terry Rozier contract or something like that in a Donovan Mitchell trade. What can you do to maybe, to your point, split up that contract, get some size, create some versatility on a roster that I thought was overrated in terms of its versatility? I think we can confuse versatility with a lack of specialized talent sometimes. And you could do that. And also to the point that I made before, like you've got two role players probably leaving in free agency in Highsmith and Caleb Martin. You're gonna have to replace those guys, and it's gonna be really difficult. So using one of those bigger salaries and breaking it up into two or three different players could be a way to at least come close to doing that. I hear you on Milwaukee. Bobby Portis wouldn't be the guy I'm looking at. I would be looking at Brook Lopez. I know he's 33, 34 years old. He's only getting older, but I mean, what's the window of this roster? It's a year, right? Probably 1, 2 years, depending on the Jimmy Butler extension. So go get him, right? He's a guy that obviously could shoot threes and protect the rim and stuff. He fits with Bam Adebayo. You could get Brook Lopez in there, move Bam to the four, and still create some extra size and some additional shooting. Question is, like, would the Bucks do that for Tyler Hero straight up? I don't know. I guess you would have to ask Milwaukee that. Another team I would look at is Detroit. That's a team that makes a lot of sense for a guy like Tyler Hero. They have zero shooting on the perimeter, zero playmaking outside of Cade Cunningham. They don't seem to trust Jaden Ivey at all. What do? They need some perimeter scoring talent. Could you propose a Tyler Hero for Isaiah Stewart and one other piece kind of swap? Could you get Isaiah Stewart and Jaden Ivey from them for Tyler Hero? I think that's something that you would have to explore, create some depth and create some more versatility that way. I think there's a lot of teams that could use a guy like Tyler Hero in that six-man role. And the Heat also will have to explore that because they're going to have to shed payroll. Because if this team does not have another superstar on it, it ain't worth what it costs. Like, it just straight up is not worth being a second apron team and one of the highest payrolls in the league for a team that was in the play-in tournament 2 years in a row. So now you're going to have some pressure being like, you know what? It doesn't make sense to have not just this payroll, but the limitations from a roster flexibility standpoint that it provides too. Like, they're going to have to maybe take a calculated step back in order to take that next step forward.